Ever wondered if Star Wars exists in Star Trek? Find out right now. Hey Trekkies, welcome back to another episode of Yelling About Star Trek. My name is Christian Fox, and this is a show where I yell at you about all things Star Trek for your amusement. Today, I want to answer a question that almost no one is asking, and that doesn't make the slightest bit of difference to the larger Star Trek universe. And that is, does Star Wars exist in Star Trek? And when I say exist, I don't mean does the Star Wars universe physically exist in the Star Trek universe, in the sense that if Q were in a mood, he could fling the Enterprise and the gang to Tatooine, where they'd have to face on the Empire. Rather, what I mean is, does Star Wars exist as an entertainment franchise that characters in Star Trek could enjoy either as movies or as programs that they could play out in the holodeck? And based on the evidence that I could find, the answer is yes. Wait, what? Yeah, it's a bit of a stretch, but let me explain. The first piece of evidence that I want to discuss comes from Enterprise and Discovery. In both of those shows, we see characters watching real-world movies as entertainment. Now, it's not a lot of evidence, but it does suggest that their pop culture is somewhat similar to our pop culture. So the possibility that Star Wars can exist as a movie is there, based on the fact that characters in both of those shows watch real-world movies that we can enjoy today. It's not a lot, but it's there. And I know that evidence isn't a lot and really only suggests of the possibility of Star Wars existing, but doesn't actually confirm it. So we need to look at Voyagers Future's End Part 1. As you might remember, that's the episode where Voyager's attacked by the time ship from the 29th century, and by them getting attacked, they actually fire back, which causes both of the ships to be pulled through a time rift and end up in the year 1996. And as you can imagine, the usual time travel shenanigans ensue, but kind of the thing that makes it stand apart from, say, something like The Voyage Home or other time travel stories is Henry Starling, and the fact that he's a 20th century Bill Gates-like character, but has access to 29th century technology, so is ready for Voyager and their arrival. And the scene that I want to talk about is the one in which Rand Robinson, who's Tom Paris's sort of love interest, realizes that Voyager's up there and is like, oh, it matches the same signature that Henry asked me to look for. So she gives him a call, gives him the news, and says, hey, Voyager's up there. Again, doesn't really know that it's Voyager, but says something's up there, and it matches the same energy profile that you sent me, I think is what they say. But in that conversation, Starling says, do you think E.T. likes Chateau Care? And then Rain responds, well, if he doesn't, I got a six-pack in the fridge. So based on that conversation, we can assume that they are actually referencing E.T. the movie. And E.T. the movie was directed by Steven Spielberg. And can you guess who one of Steven Spielberg's closest friends is? Yep, that's right, George Lucas himself. So to me, that suggests that if Steven Spielberg exists in the Star Trek universe, then logically George Lucas also exists. But what's even more is that characters in the movie are actually seen looking and playing with Star Trek action figures, and there's even a kid in the background with a Yoda costume. So those characters clearly know about Star Wars, and Star Wars in that movie exists as a popular entertainment franchise in the same way that it does our universe. So we can assume that if Rain Robinson and Henry Starling are watching E.T. and that people of the 20th century are watching E.T. in the Star Trek universe, then E.T. is probably exactly the same movie as it is in our timeline. That's at least the assumption that I'm making, and realize I said timeline when I mean reality. So based on that, we can assume that Star Wars exists in the Star Trek universe as a popular entertainment franchise that characters can enjoy. But what do you think? Do you agree with me that Star Wars exists in Star Trek, or do you think it's a bowl full of wax? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And if you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future videos coming out. And in the paraphrased words of Captain Kirk, I shall see you out there, that-a-way.